What everyone needs to learn and take seriously is that there is no fixing this system. There is no repair kit for it, nor is there something broken that can be replaced. Everything you see in this system belongs in the system and is part of it. Everything this system does is what it is designed to do. You cannot fix the system because in fact it is not broken. It is performing precisely in the way it is designed to perform. Those who want to fix it are trying to break it under the illusion that it could not be working in a different way. It is working the way it is supposed to. No matter what you might think about it, this system acts precisely the way it is designed to act. It will never change and will never act in any other way than it now acts. The problem is the system works perfectly, and so to try and change it is to try and break it. That is the power of this system. It gets worse the more we try and fix it. You can war against it, you can have revolutions, you can try and vote it out of existence, but all you get is the same system with new faces running it. People do not understand this system because they think it is natural, they think it is reality. But they think reality is the system they are in and it is all natural. It's circular reasoning. Reality is what is viewed as physical because what seems physical is what phenomenologists think reality is. But the harder you look at physical reality, the less physicality we see and the less real reality becomes. No one can prove physical reality exists, nor even that there is a substance that can be said to be physical. Indeed, the harder we look for proof that reality exists, the more we realize belief in this system is predicated on there not being any proof. If something could be proven, it would necessarily prove this reality is not real. This needs to be understood. People only take the physicality of reality as a fact because it cannot be proven to be a fact. They think this lack of proof that reality is real is proof that it is real. Materialists base their trust in the physical world on the findings of empirical science. But empirical science proves it is not able to prove anything conclusively. Even if there was a physical reality, empirical science could not prove this beyond the capacity of man to doubt. In empirical science, there is always the possibility an assumption will be proven invalid, and a proof will be overturned. So, the only thing empirical experiments can prove conclusively is that there are no conclusive proofs. This ought to pose a problem for those who ask for a proof of God's existence, meaning they want proof that God exists in a reality they cannot prove exists. It is one thing to ask for proof that unicorns exist, but demanding we prove unicorns exist and live in a magical forest run by fairies expects too much. First, prove beyond any ability to doubt that physical reality exists. Then you can demand Christians prove God exists in this reality. If you cannot prove physical reality exists, how can anyone prove there is something that exists in this reality? God's existence is incompatible with physical reality because everything is. Even physical reality is not compatible with the parameters of physical reality. It is an incoherent idea. If we find a water wheel, why complain it is broken because it will not work as a car engine? The water wheel is not broken because it is not able to run a car. It was not designed to run a car. The apriotic system was formed by spiritual children to allow them to play at being adults. With taking up the responsibilities of an adult, there is no better or more honest way to describe the situation. The reality we find ourselves in was created because spiritually immature persons decided they wanted to be free of accountability. The system we are in is designed by and for the spiritually immature. Even if we do not like what it is doing, that does not mean it is not doing what it was designed to do, and indeed that it has not been modified over the years to suit the needs of those who control it in better and more powerful ways. To understand what is going on, one needs to understand there are two possibilities available to us as humans. We can be adults or children. There are a lot of other things we could be and are, but they can all be grouped into one of the two states of a person. We can act and live like children or as adults. What confuses the situation is that we restrict our vision to the physical, flesh world. This is the reality of children. We see physical adults, and we see physical children, and we assume these are different groups of persons. We know many adults do not really act like adults, but these are usually the ones who have behavioral issues. It's not hard to see a drug addict, a criminal, or indignant person as someone with spiritual issues, but we do not look at the investor or bank president or state employee as someone who is spiritually sick. But if the person is not in the middle class or working at a real job producing real goods and services, the probability is they are spiritually immature. That is a good percentage of the people, And it is no guarantee that just because one is in the middle class or working a real job that they are spiritually mature either. We are all born in the flesh, and we all need to mature physically. But that does not really do much for human beings. A person who is physically mature is technically just a large child. We might try and debate this, but remove his willingness to work, and one has a large dependent who will never be anything but a burden on the system. A child that is eager to be of use is of more value than an adult with a chip on his or her shoulder and a heart full of resentment. But where do we draw the line? Most of us already know there are people who we ought not trust and who need to be restrained, but we cannot identify them with the precision we need. ICE is going around catching and deporting illegal immigrants. The law does its best to catch criminals and jail them. Then we have political parties created to oppose and hopefully take power from those who do not have the best interests of the country in mind. There is a lot going on, but have they really identified the real problem, and does what they are doing really solve the problem? Even in part, we have said that the problem is spiritual children. We have identified these are people who want to remain children in the sense they wish to remain dependents. They do this primarily through the political system. But many are powerful persons with good jobs who earn a lot of money exploiting those who do the real work. Every politician is necessarily a parasite, regardless of his policies or priorities. They are all part of the problem. Being less of a problem than other politicians does not make them part of the solution. We have remarked that the problem begins with people who claim what belongs to God. But they do not stop there. After they have claimed parts of the natural world, they use this power to take value from the ones who are producing the real wealth. The most that has been done is to try and reduce the amount of theft that is going on. No one seriously attempts to eliminate all the graft and corruption. We know it would destroy this system. But that is just the problem. We do need to collapse this system. It is a parasitic system that rewards parasitic behavior. The person who is law-abiding and gainfully employed does not need the state. That is, he or she does not create the situation or conditions that require a state. It is the criminals and socialists that need the state. And so, let's look at the perfect system or the best-case scenario. If we moved with a group of persons to an island and created our own system, what is the highest possible ideal we could hope to implement? The most perfect of all possible systems is one in which we are equal. A perfect system in which we are all equal would be a system in which we are all honest. Lies are created to give the liar an advantage they would not otherwise have. There is no possible system in which some are more equal than others that could or would be judged morally better than a system in which equality predominated. Indeed, the only way we can escape the predation and parasitism of the present system is by imposing a doctrine of equality on all members. This means there would be a requirement of honesty also. Equality only exists between spiritually mature persons. Therefore, the line between this and the other system follows the line that divides the spiritually mature from the spiritually immature. This line divides those who pay their own way and who pay others for what they do and for what they earned, from those who do not do these things. This latter group, to some degree, lives off of the work of others. This dependency on others for their subsistence defines them as parasites. There are parasites and a priorians and nothing else. There is no connection between these two groups. They are logically separate and exist according to the law of the excluded middle. We either work and pay our own way, or someone subsidizes us. There is no third option. This is okay when we are actual children, but once we are physically grown, we need to adopt a condition of equality with other adults and support ourselves and those who are dependent on us as family. As adults, we can only remain dependents if we are also liars. It is our equality that produces maturity. But how do we get there? How do we become a spiritually mature person as well as a physically mature one? The simple answer is that we join a group of adults and we work with them in ways that are honest. The more honest we are, the more equal we become. Equality will produce maturity. However, we cannot just join a physical group. There must be a spiritual connection akin to marriage. We are creating a new being by means of our association. The two become one in a marriage. In a church, the many become one. But it is still a spiritual event that requires something akin to a sacrament. What we need is a pathway to equality through honesty. This means there is only one possible mission, and that is to seek perfection. A community of equals is a perfect community. Our apologetic only makes sense if we can demonstrate that the reason for our faith is the equality it provides, and therefore, that it leads us to perfection. The achievement of perfection as a social objective presents people with the reason for the faith that we have. A priorian is a mission that answers the doubts of the unbeliever by its ability to produce equality. In so doing, it feeds the sheep. Apologetic, because of its focus on equality and perfection, teaches us how to be perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect. This means it is a process of teaching us spiritual maturity. By proving to the unbeliever that faith in God leads to a faith in the people of God, and this produces equality, we demonstrate to them that there is a way out of the mess they created. There is no way out of the state of immaturity we are in, other than by means of obtaining equality through honesty. The only solution to immaturity is maturity. If we do not wish to be spiritual children and dependents, we need to become spiritually mature and equals of the ones who build the world. We need to seek perfection, because equality is perfection and honesty is the way out of this system we are in.